This is Visokii Gaming here, bringing you some breaking wrestling news. As always, I am the Duke of Derps, also known as Garrett here. I'm a member of the Audio Podcast. Do all kinds of things here at Visokii. But today I'm bringing you a news video. If the video starts cutting in and out, I apologize. My connection is terrible. It's like worse than the worst. But as because I have some articles open at the moment, a lot of them, and this is going to be kind of choppy. I apologize in advance for that. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and close some of those articles so that I can just bring them back up and get rid of the other ones as necessary. I'm going to go ahead and log out of this as well. All right. Sorry about that. Momentary issues. We're on the frames here quickly. Are we good? Okay, we're good. All right, so today I'm going to be showing you some articles, a few, and you know, this is crazy because I just found this. I was sent it by the other guys on the show. TNA has officially been rebranded. It is no longer Impact Wrestling. It is officially Global Force Wrestling, and that is pretty crazy to me because I would have expected because earlier this week we heard that GFW was being acquired and Jeff Jarrett's new promotion was being acquired by TNA, and we figured, well, okay, that means Jeff Jarrett's going to get back in on everything. It means he's going to be fine. Well, as you can see in this article, allow me to screen share momentarily. I'm just going to go full screen on this because it's easier. All right, get rid of this. So here we go. We have the article on WrestleZone by, what is that, Nick Paglino? Someone correct me. All right. And it says, as we noted earlier this week, Impact Wrestling has officially acquired Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling, and according to the Tennessean, TNA Wrestling plans to rebrand itself as GFW. The report notes that Thursday night show on Pop TV will continue to be called Impact. However, in order to distance itself from the old TNA name and legal drama and financial issues the company had, parent company Anthem Sports will be rebranding TNA Wrestling as GFW, and Jeff Jarrett will remain the creative head of Impact. And Jeff Jarrett remain the creative head of Impact. So they're going to have their headquarters located at Skywalk Studios, and the company is using Slammiversary on Sunday as a relaunch to, so to speak, of the company. Jeff Jarrett had the following to say on the move. We're a global brand. We have partnerships in Mexico, Japan, other places, collectively coming together. We've combined forces, and basically the rebrand final touches happen on Sunday at Slammiversary. Anthem said Norton added the double meaning of TNA, which stands for Total Nonstop Action, but is also a sexual connotation, was a turnoff for many potential marketing partners. Norton also said the company is working on streaming on-demand service acts, the vast Impact tape library. Norton has the following to say. When Anthem got involved, we saw a rare opportunity to get involved with an asset that already had global distribution. It's a 3,500-hour library broadcast in 120 countries, existing distribution contracts in India, Africa, and now the United Kingdom. The timeline to take a ground zero promotion that kind of penetrating was 15 years ago. The timeline to take a ground zero promotion to that kind of penetration was 15 years ago. Sorry, 15 years. Wow, I'm apologizing. The work now is to fix some things. So that's the end of that article. Basically, sorry, clicked on the wrong tab there. Basically, this is an article from Cage Side Seats. And let's read through this one as well. I think it's a little bit of it's a short article. We'll read through it fully again. So when Anthem Entertainment announced it officially acquired Global Force Wrestling earlier this week, many people asked if it was what it was they were acquiring. It was an easy joke, yes, but GFW didn't have much in the way of tangible assets. What they did, however, was a name that was a double entendre and that wrestling fans didn't often say with "lol" in front of it. So according to the storyline published in the Tennessean, a newspaper which covers TNA's headquarters city of Nashville, from here forward, Anthem's wrestling company will be known as GFW. Their weekly show on Pop TV, Fight Network, and other outlets will keep the title Impact. Obviously, Anthem has also acquired Jeff Jarrett. This announcement confirms he remains in charge of all creative aspects of what is now GFW. We'll surely be hearing more about this as Anthem and GFW use this as a fresh start for their branding and attempt to build off recent ratings. Increase in social media touted in streaming app. They plan to make a centerpiece of their video strategy. So let me just get rid of the screen share really quickly. Sorry, stop. So that's some oh, we're having some issues. I'm sorry. That's some pretty crazy stuff there. So I went through the two articles, and it looks pretty confirmed to me. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think of a company getting rebranded like this, in such a such a fast fashion. They just bought them earlier this week, and now suddenly it's going to be GFW. No longer it's going to be Impact Wrestling. You know, it's like pretty. If you are a fan of wrestling, you know this, that while there haven't always been a New Japan that was on the level of a WWE or a Ring of Honor to bridge that gap to try and steal the American audience, TNA was the only other real American audience, unless you count NXT as a separate brand. So, you know, now them merging with GFW and getting Jeff Jarrett back is really going to help them, especially if he's the head of creative, because, you know, you'd say what you like about Jeff Jarrett in the days when he ran TNA, but the guy actually knew what he was doing, and he probably still does. So, personally, I don't think I'm going to start watching Impact anymore again, because I think that while I am going to be interested in what happens, if I hear it's starting to get good again, then I'll start watching. But I don't have any faith, because if you watched last year, it was really weird stuff that got over, and there were shows where there was literally nobody in the audience at all. So TNA was slipping, and I think this is one of the few opportunities they actually have to, you know, stake their claim for the crown, because they could take this opportunity they've been handed and launch into the stratosphere again and become the real competitor with WWE other than New Japan. They could do what WWE tried to do, except if they're doing better and they don't treat people the way WWE does, they could end up buying a Ring of Honor or another smaller promotion and getting all the wrestlers that they have. This has a lot of implications, especially with Jeff Jarrett involved. So with that being said, I was going to pull up these other articles, but I'm going to need to log back into this other account really quickly to do that. One moment, please. While I'm doing this, though, like I just want to emphasize the point that this is a big move. Like, generally, when you have wrestling companies that are merging like this, it's usually like a big one. Like, it was the attempt by WWE to get Ring of Honor that I would argue is on this level. Not trying to say that you know, GFW is like the biggest contender, but it'd be like that. It'd be like trying to buy a Ring of Honor size promotion as the WWE for them. So, you know, they may have some secret talent we don't know about that could make the show so much better. And it's insane. It really is, because what they're saying is they're going to change things at Slammiversary so that it's the GFW way. And if that is the case, I really hope that it works out in their favor, because if not, well, it's going to be pretty unfortunate, because I really would like to see them do really well, because TNA deserves it, because they put in a lot of work and they don't get a whole lot back, even though they're pretty good at what they do. For the only other company that's even on the size level comparison to a WWE or a Ring of Honor or New Japan, you know, and they've got the talent there now, just the raw talent and the people there. I mean, yeah, a lot of their guys also wrestle on the indie scene, but that's most big promotions. You don't see that many guys in Ring of Honor that you won't also see in New Japan, or I don't know, pick your favorite indie promotion. You may also see them there. So this is going to be like that, except it's two promotions that obviously, because of Jeff Jarrett, share a history, but also will be able to build a better future for each other together as they move on. So it's almost as if you know, you could say this is only going to do good things with them. I mean, for them, I should say. Excuse me. But, you know, you could also say the same thing about any other time that somebody buys another promotion. I mean, this happens in the wrestling business. We've been watching it happen for years and years, especially if you're a fan of the WWE. You watched him gobble up all the territories and slowly until he got the WCW. You know, And so this is sort of the same idea now. If Impact gets enough momentum that they can start swallowing some of these other promotions and stealing away their big stars. I mean, Jeff Jarrett is a perfect example. He could end up being the guy that makes the creative process happen at Impact now. I think it's kind of confusing though that they're going to keep calling the show Impact, even though everything's going to be rebranded as Global Force Wrestling. But it's their choice, it's their company. I'm not going to tell them how to run it because it's not my prerogative to do so. I don't run a wrestling company. So let me move on to my next article here. All right. Okay. Yep. All right. So Jeff Jarrett has talked about the plans he has for Slammiversary and beyond. So we'll look at this. There's a video with it. I'm not going to play that. I'm just going to read it here. Yep. Okay. I'll link to all this stuff in the description as well. By the way, don't think of me as just showing you these articles and not going to give you a chance to look at it and take away your own opinions. But let's go back to screen sharing once again and start sharing. And here we go. All right. This is a short article again. So here's the video I was telling you about. You'll be able to watch it on this page if you want. So here it goes. The key to the future of Impact Wrestling will be on display this Sunday at Slammiversary 15 pay-per-view during the tag team title match. The Latino American Exchange defends their championship in a four-way against tag teams from Lucha Libre, AAA out of Mexico, Japan's Pro Wrestling Noah, and Mexico-based The Crash. You can connect with an audience by being a conduit, said Impact Wrestling president Jeff Jarrett, who returned in January to the company founded in 2002. I'm a big believer of connecting wrestling audiences. Impact's working relationship with Noah and AAA and a newly formed The Crash are vital to the company's tries to recover from years of indignities under former President Dixie Carter. Jarrett is also persistently pursuing a talent exchange relation program out of the United Kingdom, and as his philosophy is to refresh and revitalize his roster with a global point of view to provide a unique content for Impact fans. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there in a short time. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing again when this loads back. All right, so there's a lot to unpack there. So in those few lines, he basically is saying what he's going to do is exactly what I was saying I hope he tries to do. He's going to open and broaden the horizons of TNA and Impact by taking this new name, this new brand, and moving forward by trying to do what it is that's working right now. Japan, they've got all these foreigners. They've got all these people from all over the world coming in there and making matches amazing. Now you got the WWE doing the same with stuff like the Cruiserweight Classic, the Mae Young Classic, all of those things. And so finally, we're going to have a third competitor in that market. So we're going to be seeing guys from the UK, guys from Mexico, probably guys from Japan, because he's got the deal with Noah. So you could see a massive change to Impact's way of booking and the style of wrestling that they do. Instead of the old school, NWA style of wrestling, they could move into more of a modern style, and that could really help them, I think. I don't think it's going to hurt them at all at the very least. So, yeah, so like just in that little bit right there, that Slammiversary and the following events are going to be really good. So if I read this correctly, I'm just looking at it again now. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a team from all four of the promotions, so sorry, for the three promotions and probably a team from TNA. So that's crazy to me how at this point we have multiple promotions in the same match with a talent exchange program on the horizon. I think this is really going to help Impact. It will have an impact, if you will. No, I'm sorry. My jokes are terrible. But yeah, I think so. By the way, before I move on to the last article I have, I want to go ahead and go into the chat really quickly. So allow me to do so. I will just take a moment to get to the channel page. Oh, that's the wrong page. Let me roll back momentarily. Okay, let me go back to the. I'm gonna take this moment. So while I'm loading this up, take your moment to chat in your questions or your opinions. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So let me just. All right, so I got some stuff. We got some people saying hi. I was tired of watching it last night before Big Brother. I was so bored. BB is lit so far. BB is the mom. Is Charlie here? Do you cover what I said had to leave. No, I don't think so. All right, Charlie is not here. It's just me today, guys. Sorry, apologies. So, like I said, just go ahead and chat in. Let me know if you have any questions or opinions about Impact being changed over and Jeff Jarrett's plans for the future. While I load up this next article, go ahead and chat in your stuff. Yeah, boy. All right. So, this last article. Here we go. I don't remember what this was. I'll have to look. Okay. This is a story. This is one we need to talk about. Okay, it's a little bit longer. We'll go through it. We will read everything but the author's take. Well, we'll read that too. Actually, we'll read it all. All right. So, this is a very interesting one. This is a very, very interesting one to me. So, I'll screen share first before I spoil anything. Let's go full screen. All right, you can see into infinity now. All right, so Impact Wrestling news. Alberto El Patron wants to retire with Impact Wrestling. That, to me, as a headline is, wow, that's pretty crazy. But, okay, so let's read it. So what's the story? Alberto El Patron recently did an interview with The Mirror to promote an upcoming Slammiversary event. The reigning GFW Global Champion told the British newspaper that he was happy with his stay in Impact Wrestling and he planned to retire with the promotion. In case you didn't know, El Patron debuted for Impact Wrestling during the television tapings on March 2nd, 2017, and was almost immediately given a shot at the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. But his efforts to win the gold did not bear fruit as the match ended in a dusty finish. The Pride of Mexico wouldn't be denied, however, and then he chased Magnus and captured the GFW Global Championship. During his interview, El Patron stated that he'd always wanted to be a part of Impact Wrestling, but the circumstances weren't in his favor. He also said he was enjoying wrestling again and planned to retire with Impact Wrestling. Here's an excerpt from the interview. It was time for Alberto to find a new place, a place to make him love and enjoy wrestling again. And Impact needed another big star, another big name. And now with the new people in charge, they were able to give me the right offer. At that point, I joined the company, and that's why I'm so happy right now. I'm going to retire in Impact Wrestling because I'm just so happy. So what's next? Alberto El Patron faces Bobby Lashley at Slammiversary on July 2nd, 2017 in a match to unify the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship and Global GFW Global Championships. So, the author's take on this. It is heartening to see that El Patron is content with his role in Impact Wrestling. However, the company is struggling to find a lucrative television contract in the United States and may not be able to pay the former WWE champion's wages for much longer. So, that last bit there, I will talk about that for a moment. But let me just come back and stop sharing momentarily once more. Okay, again, a lot to unpack there. So it appears that despite what everyone says about TNA, Patron is actually pretty happy right now with the new management. And I can't say that I blame him because, the guy probably is happy where he is because he doesn't have to deal with Vince McMahon and all the people in WWE all the time now. He just has to deal directly with, I would assume, Jeff Jarrett at this point, but before then, the guy that was running it that had taken over after Dixie Carter. So, it's interesting to see that he's happy. But the interesting thing that came out of that, I thought, was the end bit with the author's notes. So they're not going to essentially be able to pay his wages because he finally got the deal he wanted, but now they're not able to find a television deal and he may not get paid. So it runs into that old problem of promotions not paying their wrestlers, even though they're doing a lot of good stuff for them. It's sad to hear that might happen to him too. If so, he'll probably just break his deal with them and they'll pay him the money they owe him and then they'll be done. I know the guy wanted to learn on the independent circuit for a long time before he landed at Impact. I mean, it was probably like a month or two or something. I saw him on several other indie promotions before then. I mean, it's sad to see a guy like that take that much time to get to a place where he actually has the platform to do the things he wants to do. But it's really good to see that he's got a belt on him and that he's going to be in the Slammiversary main event. I mean, you can't ask for much more if you're that guy. I'm glad to hear that he's happy. I'm glad to see that he actually potentially does want to stay and retire there. That came out of that. That's pretty crazy that he says he wants to retire with Impact. It'd be a difficult thing to do because Impact would have to be raised to the level of WWE for him to really, maybe he doesn't care about all that, but I think for him or anybody that's been on the level of WWE that for as long as he was, that's kind of how you want to retire is at the top, not in the middle. So assuming they can rise to the top and maybe take on WWE, maybe the guy can do what he says. And I really hope that it does happen that way because especially with all the stuff that we have been reading, I mean, so let's just extrapolate some data from all the articles that we've read. So what I picked up from all this is three things. So the main thing that came away from this is that Impact is set up for some massive success at this point. And there's nothing that really can stop them other than their own stupidity and ideas. I'm really excited to see the direction. So, you know, oh, hey, Charlie's here in the chat. You'd like to see some more ECW style wrestling. I completely agree with you, Gerg Sport. Absolutely. More hardcore wrestling. Does that mean every wrestling match has to be hardcore? No. But does TNA do it pretty much better than anybody else at this point? I would agree. I would have to agree with that statement. Tend to do so, because the Extreme Rules matches in the WWE are so moot at this point. They almost feel like they're not even extreme. Like, I watched Extreme Rules live on pay-per-view, and I was disappointed with the main event, even though it was a really good match. It wasn't very extreme to me. And people are going to argue that point and tell me that I'm wrong, but I think that kind of wrestling has a place in wrestling, and maybe not to the point that some insane promotions take it to, but I think for sure that does have a place in wrestling, and it can add to a storyline so much. If they're willing to harm each other that much in that way, it can really make a guy look like a serious badass. Point two that I took away from this is that Impact is not going to be affected by this name change, except in going to be like, people are going to be, oh, it's GFW. They're going to have to start getting used to that. I don't think this change is actually going to change much about Impact unless Jeff Jarrett comes in and does an overhaul, which, if you know the guy and you know his history, that's what he does. So expect there to be some changes in the future, but not immediately. Things are probably going to be pretty similar to how they have been for a little while until they get some traction. The third thing that I'm taking away from all this is it appears that everything is on the up and up at this point. Alberto El Patron is happy. I'm sure Bobby Lashley is happy. I'm sure Jeff Jarrett, of all people, despite the fact that it took him however many years to get back, is happy. So, you know, I expect Jeff Jarrett on Slammiversary to walk out and play this sort of GM role like he used to on Impact Weekly and at the pay-per-views. I would not be surprised at all. So if you have an opinion about all of this, let me know in the chat. I'll be waiting. But, you know, it's crazy to me that all this stuff is happening for them at once. It's almost like they got up today and all of a sudden all the pieces fell together. We have those moments in life sometimes where everything just happens to fall together and it's perfect and you don't know what to do with yourselves. That's probably where Jeff Jarrett and all the wrestlers in the back are at this point. I mean, I really hope this is the right move for TNA. You know, maybe they'll rival WWE, like I've been saying. Maybe they'll rival Ring of Honor. Who knows? They could end up making deals with those companies since they're doing this whole new style. Oh, that was the third takeaway. Sorry, I stalled on that one. I was trying to think of what I was going to say. So, yeah, they're going to have a global audience at this point. They're going to have people from all these different countries, from Mexico, from Japan, from probably some from Canada, because that's where most of the Western wrestlers end up coming from a lot for some reason. And probably some big names in the United States that nobody has heard of. It's like, it almost feels like at this point, there's nothing that they would have to seriously screw up on the booking to mess up with the platform they've been given. And I'm really excited to see the direction they take it, because at the end of the day, don't we all just want everyone to succeed in this business? I mean, really, as fans, I think we can all agree that that's what we want to do. Do you think Patron will beat Lashley for the new combo title? I do. Man, it depends. So I think there's a couple of ways they could go about it. Let me just see who gave me that question. I didn't even look. That was Sniper. I'm Snipe XOR. That's what I'm gonna call you. I'm Snipe XOR. Man, this Xbox gamer tags. But yeah, so I think there's a possibility. I think this one is going to be one of those decisions they hold till the last day, because it doesn't really matter who you put the belt on. I guess Lashley would just feel a little odd because he unified the belts. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be one belt at the end, and I would imagine it would be the GFW belt because that's the name they're going with. But I think if they want to skyrocket if they want to really bring in the Mexican scene of wrestlers, they'll give it to Patron. And if they really want to worry about making sure Bobby Lashley is happy, then they'll keep the belt on him. I don't know what their relationship with Bobby Lashley is like. I'm sorry. Just kill me. No, don't really. But yeah, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So the next question I have is from Gerg Sport again. Do you think they'll overhaul the new talent? I think that's what their idea is, really. Yeah, I absolutely. I really do think that is their goal. That is why they're bringing in the talent from all the different locations, from Mexico, Japan, and other places. It's that's what their goal is to do. They're bringing in these experienced wrestlers that have been journeymen and gone from promotion for years and years, so that they can teach the guys that haven't had an opportunity or hadn't needed the opportunity to do that. So yeah, I completely 100% think that is what they're going to do, especially if Jeff Jarrett is involved creatively like they say he is. So let's see if we got any more. Nope, that looks like that's the last question. All right, cool. If you guys have any more, just make sure you let me know. I'll be checking the chat. So yeah, so there's a lot of crazy stuff breaking in wrestling news today. I had to get on and make a video because I thought, man, this is such crazy stuff going on. It's almost like they knew we made a video earlier today and wouldn't want to make another, so they just decided they were going to break all this stuff at once. No, that's not how that works. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff breaking. I've been hearing all kinds of different crazy stuff all day. Yeah, so I'm going to go to some, while I wait for some Impact-related questions. You want a Trevor Lee or Seidel push? Yeah? Matt Seidel? Oh, yeah, completely. I completely agree with that. Let me see. Oh, yeah. So I have some. All right. I have some non-TNA related news that I'm going to share just momentarily that I heard earlier today. It's just rumor, so don't take it as fact. Most of the stuff on this is usually rumor. This stuff is fact today because it was released by the company. But I heard that officially the decision has changed, that it's not going to be Strowman Reigns at SummerSlam, but it's going to be Reigns versus Lesnar then instead of at WrestleMania. Which, if you are paying attention to the WWE, know that means that Samoa Joe would not be winning the belt, which is what most people think that he should do at this point. I don't know how I personally feel about this. I mean, I didn't really think the guy had a chance ever. Even though I kind of liked the idea of him having the belt, I didn't see it as a possibility but even though he's one of the few guys that could legitimately beat Lesnar, and you'd be like, well, yeah, cool. I don't see it happening. So yeah, that's just some news I heard. So I don't have an article to verify that one. That was something I heard in a news show on the internet. So don't take everything I say as fact. That was just an idea. But yeah, speaking on Trevor Lee, I will say Trevor Lee is one of the few guys that on the roster that held down the divisions that he's been a part of, the X division and such. I mean, like, the X division has always been outpacing any other cruiserweight division since it came around. So, and I guess when you had guys like AJ Styles, Ricochet, and Low Key in the original matches that led to the title and the crowning of a champion, that's what you get in the end, is that. So yeah, I really love to see a push for one of those guys, though, because enough has been done by the guys that they deserve to have their own sort of little push. I mean, I don't see why not. It's not that big of a deal. But Impact being this new brand is going to really help a lot of people. And I think, especially with the name GFW, there's going to be a lot of beautiful matches from all these insanely good technical wrestlers from Japan and Mexico that have had the years and years of experience and have been able to do this. So I think we could possibly see a push for a Trevor or a Seidel. It could happen. Anything could happen at this point. Bobby Roode and Alberto El Patron could go to a no contest at Slammiversary. You never know. It really depends. I don't know. It has to come down to what it is that Jeff Jarrett decides he wants to do. Now that he's back in the driver's seat and creative, it really comes down to him. And if I know Jeff Jarrett, I don't really know him personally, but I've watched enough of wrestling when he was in charge of Impact that I know the guy takes this business very seriously. And he does what he does, but he does it right. He doesn't always do what everybody wants, but he does it right. And I think that's enough in this business, especially when you have such a low point that you're coming back up from. It just gives you a bigger launching point. So let's see if we got any more questions. Looks like you guys got no more. All right. Well, I'll say one more thing before I go, and I'll check for questions one more time before I go as well. But yeah, so I think this is all really, really good news for Impact. I think that their horizons have broadened. They have a real opportunity to take themselves to the next level here. And at the end of the day, this is only going to help them more and more and more. I keep saying that over and over again because it's true. I really think that they gave themselves a real chance here to rival the WWE. And at the very least, a smaller promotion that they maybe could engulf themselves and get the advantages that that has. It seems like in times like this, we like to act like we know what's going to happen. Still haven't speculated a whole lot because I have no idea. Because at this point, it's really up in the air. This could be the worst decision of all time, or it could be the thing that saves TNA. We just don't know. So one more check on those questions. All right, doesn't look like you guys got any. Anyway, that has been the Impact Wrestling, is officially now called GFW. Breaking news alert. I am the Duke of Durst, also known as Garrett. If you didn't get to tune in live to this as I was going on, make sure you go back and watch the VOD after it processes. But I'm out of here, guys. Later.